Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Where Have You Been Lately? Brought to you by the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. And this is a show where we like to point out places to stop and visit, patronize, check out when you're on a road trip or just out in your car.
So where have you been lately?
Well, very local.
Very local.
I'm staying to Berks County this time.
Okay, like across the street local?
Not quite that local.
Okay.
More like our wonderful parks and rec system that we have here in Berks County. So specifically, I was at Gring's Mill with the kids, and we go there a lot. There's a nice trail there that follows the Tulpehocken, and Gring's Mill is kind of like right off 222, but then you can go one way and you'll get to the Heritage Center, and that's where the Gruber Wagon Works is and the Canal Museum, or you can go the other way and you'll get to like Stone Cliff Park, and there's a skate park there and stuff, and we walk those trails a lot to both ends. But for whatever reason, the last time we went, the kids, we didn't go to the trail right away. We kind of went off. When you park there, we went down this hill. There's a big grassy open area there. We never really went down there before. But we wandered down there and we came upon this lovable turtle statue, which of course my kids fell in love with. You can see him there. He's made of stone and poured cement, and there's a little plaque there. He was dedicated to the site in July 1979, and he has the little the artist signatures on his back foot there, and he's called Tully the Turtle, according to the plaque. Tully for Tulpehocken, because he sits right there at the creek. Right beyond that photo is
the creek, the
Tulpehocken there. And Tulpehocken actually means the place of the turtle.
Really?
Yes, it's a Lenape word, and that's what that means. I didn't know that.
The stuff I learned on this,
let me tell you.
This show.
So the artist is Ramon Lago, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, but I was interested because, I don't know, it's a cool turtle statue in a park, and I was just curious.
Now, how big is this turtle? How big is it? I mean, is it like 30 feet high?
My daughter is 6, and granted, she's a short 6, but she's a little taller than it, but not much. So it comes up to about here or so, the back of his shell. He apparently at one point had a tail, but that's not there anymore. I guess that has been vandalized and broken off, and he doesn't have his tail any longer. So I looked up the artist because I was, interested. And he was born in Cuba in 1947, and he came to the United States when he was pretty young. His father was a politician and fled during Castro's revolution. So they got out of there, and they went to New York City first. He has an interesting career. He went to the Art Students League and the National Academy of Design in New York City. And in 1968, now the photo that I have there of him, he's a little older. That's towards later in life. I'll have a younger photo of him later. But he was into sculpting. That was really his first love. That was what he concentrated in. In 1968, he toured with Andy Warhol's Exploding Plastic Inevitable, which was a series of multimedia events that Andy Warhol came up with. So Velvet Underground was on this tour, and Nico, and they played songs. They would show some of Andy Warhol's films.
What was the name of it again?
Exploding Plastic Inevitable.
It sounds
very Andy Warholish, right? They had actors and actresses would put on like mini performances, or maybe read some poetry. There was some visual art there, which I assume is where Ramon Lago came in. Some of his art was featured on this. So anyway, that's what he was doing up until about 1970. And then he moved to Berks County in 1970. And he taught at the Wyomissing Institute. He taught at Reading Area Community College. He had a studio at 4th and Washington Streets in Reading. He also had a studio in Ole. He had, I don't know if he lived there. It sounded like, what do you want to call it? A benefactor sort of funded his Ole studio, and he sculpted in Ole quite a bit. I couldn't figure out where exactly in Ole. But yeah, he had a studio there, and he stays in Berks County for about 30 years. And then in Miami, he goes to Miami in 2000, and he stays there for the rest of his life. He passed away in 2018 on May 16th. And the reason I read he moved to Miami is he just found that for his particular art, he had a better market in like Florida and South America, and so that was closer.
Well, and his background being from Cuba, and I know there's a lot of
large
people,
Cuban community in that area, so that's where he spent the rest of his life. But he always always remained, with this affinity for the Reading area. In August of 2018, so a little bit after he passed away, they had a ceremony at Gring's Mill where the turtle is, and they spread his ashes there at Gring's Mill by the turtle. And actually, you can find like the little ceremony they did for him online. If you Google him, that comes up, and you can see a little talk they gave by his friends and things like that. So when I was reading about him, I found out he has 3 pieces of public art in Berks County. So the turtle is one of them. There he is. But then he also has the Peace Dove, which is at Reading's City Park. And that's him when the dove was put out in the 70s. City Park is kind of at the base of Mount Penn, where the pagoda is, and Duryea Drive. So City Park is down there at the base. So the dove is there. The dove was made with chicken wire and overlaid with fiberglass and then coated in concrete. And it sits on this like limestone boulder there. But the elements were really rough on this dove, and it was cracking a lot, just very discolored. So in 2012, 2 other artists, with his permission, put another layer of concrete on top of it, and hopefully they're hoping that will repair it. It doesn't, unfortunately. So in January of 2023, so not long ago, actually, the city of Reading worked with a group called Krylik Conservation, and they're in Pennsylvania too, I think Montgomery County, to take the dove and recast it in stone, which they did. They removed the dove in January of 23, took it to their facility, and recasted it, and that's what is there in the park now. That was installed in April 29th, 2023. So the dove is refreshed. And
good.
His 3rd piece of public art here in Berks County, I mentioned earlier that when we go to Gring's Mill, sometimes we walk over to the Berks Heritage Center, which has the Gruber Wagon Works, which is a very, very cool place that you should definitely check out. We should make that a topic of a show someday. There is a big, colorful bird called a Distelfink that is right there at the parking lot, really. It's hard to miss. It is 6 feet tall and 11 feet long, and it is very vibrant, very colorful. Its eyes are like hex signs that would be on a barn. It's really cool. I never knew. I had no idea who made it. I didn't even think about it, really. But that's his as well. So you can go there and check that out. That was put in 1984. And a Distelfink is a bird, that's a Pennsylvania German term, Distelfink. Essentially, it means thistlefinch, which is a type of bird in Europe. And when the German settlers came here and saw, these small little finches that we have, it reminded them of the thistlefinch or Distelfink back home. And so that's what they called them. But you'll see Distelfinks a lot in Pennsylvania German art. They're really popular. I'm sure if you're local, this image will not will look very normal to you. You'll see this in a lot of stuff. They like Distelfinks. They like tulips. This in their folk culture, it was supposed to bring happiness and good fortune. So that's the Distelfink. And those are his 3 pieces in Berks County. So the turtle, the dove, and the Distelfink. We get his animals. He has 2 other examples of public sculpture. One in Columbia, which I could not find any examples of. I don't know what it is or what it looks like. The other one is in Miami, where he spent the rest of his life, and that's the one in Miami. There's like 3 very, what do you want to call it? Not abstract. They're 3 people, kind of holding hands and going through the park, but I prefer our Distelfink and our dove and our turtle. I think they're cool.
So he has these 5 public sculptures, but does he have stuff, everything else is private, I guess?
It looks like it. So I saw a lot of his stuff online. Like I said, a lot of sculpture. I think he tried painting and he dabbled in that a little bit, but sculpture was really what he loved. His collection is in private hands. It's in museums and things like that. I only saw that he had 5 public pieces that you can just go out and see, and Berks County is home to 3 of them.
Wow.
All pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
In Berks. So go check out the Distelfink, the dove, and Tully, and just a neat little story. And I had no idea when I saw that turtle that it would. And I had seen the dove and the Distelfink before. I had no idea those 2 were done by the same person, and then add the turtle. I thought that was pretty neat. So that's what I got. Nice and local.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
There you go. So everybody, thank you for joining us. I hope you take the opportunity to go out and visit all the cool places that we've been sending you over the past couple of episodes here. And until then, we hope you visit us here at the museum, where we are open 7 days a week. And check us out on Facebook and our website and on YouTube, and follow all the cool content that we have. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.